Right? Aaron Rodgers makes I think it's a weekly appearance on a podcast by a man named Pat McAfee. It's a sports-related situation most of the time, but they delve into other things.
Well, and it's no longer a podcast. It's on ESPN TV every week now, too.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
Which is sort of relevant to this part of the story, though.
I think so. So wait, so it's not a podcast anymore just because it's on TV? But it's a podcast first.
It was a podcast first.
So they don't do the podcast? What we see on TV isn't a podcast also?
It will end up a podcast, but it airs as live television
first.
Maybe live radio, too. Yeah, it might be live everything first now. It's everywhere you look, honestly. I mean, ESPN has it on. If you look somewhere, he's basically on your TV.
Well, I mean, they paid $1 gazillion for it, so guess what? They're going to make sure that thing is seen.
Well, and you know what? And Pat McAfee also paid $1 million, literally, to get Aaron Rodgers in a brilliant marketing move to have him come on the show every week because that Aaron Rodgers guy loves to make some headlines.
Well, he did so just yesterday. Him and Jimmy Kimmel, unbeknownst to me, were having some sort of back and forth over, I don't know, a myriad of things. Jimmy Kimmel loves making fun of Aaron Rodgers, I guess. And Aaron Rodgers made some a quip about Jimmy Kimmel being on the Epstein list that's supposed to be released soon. And after said joke, I guess it trended Rosenberg. Is that what happened?
Well, yeah, I actually think the way you're setting it up isn't all the way accurate either.
Why?
Because it was more than a quip. He's not laughing. He doesn't say like, oh my gosh, what if Jimmy Kimmel was on the list?
Well, no, he was like, yo, a lot of people are waiting for this list, including Jimmy Kimmel.
No, a lot of people don't want this list to come out.
Exactly, including Jimmy Kimmel. There you go.
Yeah, but with no smile or laugh whatsoever. And supposedly that rumor that Kimmel would be on the list, Ebro, was like an internet crazed rumor by the MAGA maniac right-wingers who hate Jimmy Kimmel.
Right. And so they ran it up on socials.
So then they all ran it up on socials. Jimmy Kimmel last night at 6:18 jumped on Twitter and wrote, "Dear A-hole, for the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any, quote, list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we'll debate these facts further in court." At Aaron Rodgers 12.
See, now, my congratulations goes to Jimmy Kimmel here.
Go ahead.
Because if I was Jimmy Kimmel and I make jokes for a living, and somebody said something like that, because I've been making jokes about him, and their response was what Aaron Rodgers was, and I know that he has soft-brained wackos following him, I wouldn't have showed this side on the internets. Even if I was going to do what Jimmy Kimmel said he was going to do, I still wouldn't have given that satisfaction to the internets because now they're not going to stop.
I think in Kimmel's case, though, and listen, I don't know the man, but based on how people talk about him, I think he's already had them on his neck for so long.
Yeah, but I think on this particular thing.
But I think that's why he did it, because this one rose to a level that made him feel like some level of threat.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
People.
I feel you on that, but it ain't gonna stop now. Now is
facts.
It ain't gonna stop now. And he could have behind the scenes got this done and not given them more fodder. Is really all I'm saying. So for that, I give Jimmy the button. But the real congrats here is I don't think this is what Aaron Rodgers really wants.
Yo, bro,
I don't think this sort of dust up and narrative and energy is really what Aaron Rodgers wants.
Though the real congrats, Ebro, if you want to dig into it, is Aaron Rodgers is obsessed with his vaccine stance still, right? Like he still brings it up all the time. He believes anyone who's critical of him in any way, it's because they're pro-vaccine and he was anti-vaccine. He's always bringing it up. One of the main things that people, at least like myself, grew to not like about Aaron Rodgers was not even the vaccine stance, but the obnoxious, self-assured way that he talked about it. Right?
Well, so that was annoying to me, which is like, you think you got the answers, fam.
So here's why this to me is the great congrats. Wait, my man, you're the guy who said you did all the research yourself, right? But you believed the random wackos who said Jimmy Kimmel was going to be on the Epstein list? Well, you didn't do the research on that because he's not on the list. That was utterly made up. And you know what you just did? You went on a Disney property and and said something completely untrue and dangerous about the most famous TV host on the Disney property?
Yeah, him and Stephen A. I think it's Kimmel and Stephen A.
Right? Those are the two biggest names Disney even has. So I don't know that you're also putting McAfee in a great spot. Like, all of it's a bad look. I thought you did research, my guy.
Yeah, but I don't, it's a button. Hit him with the button, for sure.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
But I still find it hard pressed to. I think this is gonna end up being a nothing burger. I don't think anybody really wants this to turn it into anything. But once again, back to my original congrats. Jimmy Kimmel writing that thing on Twitter just inflamed it to a whole other level. And I get why he did it.
You played yourself.
I get why he did it. But just know, if you thought they were relentless before this, they live for this.
You think the better play, would have been to wait and go on TV, say how ridiculous the claim is, and then sort of just tear him down joke by joke on your bully pulpit that is the TV show?
That would have been my thing, but and if my family was threatened behind the scenes, obviously I would have documented that with the authorities. You know what I mean? Because as a celebrity, somebody with a public profile, if they start doxing his address or putting out where his kids go to school or in this whole business, that's going to happen already anyway because of the type of psychos that follow this sort of thing on the internet. And so then if I would have had to take legal action, I would have just done so quietly behind the scenes. I'm sure it would have came out and been made public at some point, but not by me.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're right. I think that does make sense.
Because now Jimmy Kimmel's just this is never going to go away.
Yo, Ebro, by the way, I've got to ask you, do you think Nicki Minaj will ever come and apologize to me and send me maybe like a fruit basket or something?
It could happen, Rosenberg. When I spoke to Nicki Minaj about the fact that she doesn't like Starships, and you at the time proclaimed that Starships was trash, and it turned into an international incident, I said, you owe Rosenberg an apology. And she said, man, hit the button.
And she said, I'm not getting an apology.
She literally was like, Rosenberg's crazy, hit the button.
Congratulations.
That's all I got was Rosenberg. How am I crazy? Listen, I'm not crazy. Shawnee, you remember it. You were there.
But no, crazy with love. Like, not crazy out of your mind. Crazy, like, he's crazy. Like, she's over it.
Right. That's how hold on, but that's the button. That's what people always do when they blatantly owe themselves the button. Like, I had to literally sit there. Nicki showed up to the station, God bless her, and she was wearing like a Captain Crunch hat. She showed up with a whole thing. I stood there face to face and was
Wait, did
torn
you call her
down.
Captain Crunch?
Yo, wow.
Was that shade?
Yeah, someone else said it to me, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yo, Barbs, leave me out of this. Leave me out of this.
No, listen, but Nicki tore me limb from limb. Mm-hmm. I sat there. Everything was called into question. My maleness, whiteness, patriarchy, everything. And Ebro, I was so apologetic about it, I almost started to agree with her.
She might even called you a narcissist. And this was like 2014 before narcissist was really popping out here.
This is 10 years ago. This is 2012. I literally was like, you know what, Nicki? You're right. Everything you're saying sounds true. I think you're right. And now all these years later, she's like, yo, that song's trash. On New Year's, they tried to get her to perform it. She was like, I don't perform this song. I don't like it, y'all. I don't play this anymore. I don't like it. That's all I ever said.
But
you just said the song was bad. You can't say it.
Yeah, you can't say it.
Yo, Rosenberg, you thought you could have an opinion in hip hop? It's 2024. You ain't learned. You white, man. Hit this guy with the button.
That's not no.